I'm your host, Dr. Caroline Leaf, and welcome to my podcast, Cleaning Up the Mental Mess. Today I'm going to talk about the soft life as opposed to hustle culture. But before we dive in, I just want to ask you to rate and review the show and share with friends and family. It helps us so much to keep this podcast going. And I also want to share with you something that's really, really exciting for me, hopefully for you. I have a new book coming out, which is my 19th book. I have 18 books in 24 languages. So this is my 19th book that's coming out. And it is one that is a response to what you guys asked me for. It's called Help in a Hurry. Okay, we all need help in a hurry. And it's filled with all kinds of simple, scientifically based, but very easily explained information and tips on how to manage the moment, managing your thought life in the moment. So, for example, some of the titles: Help, what's going on in my head? Help, I'm under pressure. Help, my brain won't shut up. Help, I want to punch that person in the face. Help, the world seems so black and white. Help, I'm tired all the time. Help, my intrusive thoughts are driving me crazy. Those kinds of things. Even things like, help, I'm a people pleaser. Help, my inner critic won't let up. So the things that grab us. And so I explain them, give a little bit of science, very simple, and then give you a hands-on how to manage the moment as it happens. Someone drives you crazy and you want to punch them in the face. What can you do in the moment? And then what can you do in the long run? So it's really helpful to help you find that sense of peace and calm, to get those thoughts that drive us. Our mind is 99% of who we are. Our brain and body are 1%. And this book will help you manage your mind. Okay, so moving on to the soft life. Oh, by the way, if you want to get the book, pre-order, there's all kinds of, sorry, I get so excited about the book and the content, but I forgot to tell you, you can actually pre-order it already, and the details will be in the show notes on how to pre-order. And if you pre-order, as usual, like all of us authors, we give you amazing bonuses, and my bonuses really are amazing. I'm going to read them to you. There's different levels. If you get one book, there's certain bonuses, and if you buy more books, and so on and so on. So you can see all of that in the show notes. But in essence, if you buy a pre-order, some of the bonuses you get are a masterclass led by me, where I'll walk you through life-changing concepts in the book, exclusive early access to some of the chapters. You get a sneak peek at the book in digital form before it officially launches, an invitation to join my private launch team, where you'll get behind-the-scenes access to me and connect with other awesome, like-minded people, a fast action study guide with fill-in-the-blank workbook to help you implement the principles fast. All of these, which are valued at quite a lot and whatever. So you can grab these and pre-order. And okay, so now let's dive into the soft life versus hustle culture. So it's not just possible to carve out the time and space to be idle or resist the demands of productivity or the productivity hustle culture. It's essential. Living in this hustle culture where we're busy all the time puts us under such pressure that we are going to have days where we're fine, and we're going to have days where everything makes us explode, and where we just keep thinking, oh, why am I reacting again? Why am I getting irritated again? You may find yourself saying sorry to people because you're just overreacting, or someone sends you a text and you just overreact, or there's one more work thing and it's like the straw that broke the camel's back, that kind of thing. And that's the result of this emphasis on productivity and hustle culture. Now, there's nothing wrong with working hard. It's good for us to work hard. It's good to be stimulated. It's good to keep your mind and brain occupied. You're not meant to be lazy either. But it's just balance. We've kind of lost that with this ability that we have to be connected all the time. And so we're connected all the time, and we've become so connected that we've disconnected from who we truly are in deep, meaningful connection with ourselves as well as others. So the soft life is all about how do we do that again. Okay, so soft life is not about laziness. It is kind of like almost like a rebellion against the toxic hustle culture that overlooks the value of simply living well. So it's kind of like a rebellion. We just want to simply live well. So it's kind of like a rebellion against this constant drive. Okay, so the soft life is a radical act of self-preservation. It's for you. We need to self-preserve. And you can look after you. You can fill your cup and help others, as we know, that oxygen mask principle. So we need to start by redefining success. So what is success in terms of, how you see it? In our current age, it's all about, showing that you work very hard, showing that you've gone very high in your job, that you've got all this list of achievements and you do so much and all that kind of thing. And it doesn't mean that it's wrong to have all of those. They're great. But should be more, that's part of it. It's not the only thing. So success doesn't mean an endless growth. It means that we grow, but it's actually more focused on balancing this with sustainable happiness and health. So is your growth and productivity sacrificing your ability to grow, your ability to have peace and happiness and sustainable health? Or are you getting so stressed that you're getting sick and not really focusing on those? And I'm not just talking about just throwing in the odd sauna or the odd spa day here and there where you try and go and relax, but you're so wound up you don't know how to wind down. I'm talking about this as a committed lifestyle daily. It's an attitude shift. It's when you plan what you've got to do, you also plan to build the soft life into your day. So we need to talk about the soft life as a courageous act of rejecting outdated success metrics. I love that statement. Okay, it's sustainable happiness and growth. Actually, the origins of this have Nigerian roots, but it highlights how its adoption globally, because this has been adopted globally. So it has roots in Nigerian roots, but it's been adopted globally. So countries around the world are talking about this all the time. There's so much on the soft life and rejecting the hustle culture. I've done this in quite a few podcasts, but it bears talking about it again and making a decision. I love the term soft life. That's kind of a newish term for this, but it's really not getting so stuck in the productivity. Hustle culture is failing us. And why do we think it's failing us? Well, it's hustle versus what you need as a human. So if you don't balance it and you just hustle, you're going to crash. It's always about balance at the end of the day, isn't it? Okay. So we need to be careful that we actually understand and really explore the false promises of the hustle culture, which says that you will have wealth and happiness, because it's kind of like an endless mountain that you're climbing, because you get to this point and it just is still more and more and more. And there's so much sacrifice that is required of you as a person. And, I see this all around me and you see it all around you. And one of my daughters lives in Paris, and I use this as an example often, but I get so impressed when every time I go there and visit. And you walk around and you see at lunchtime, people actually switch off into the soft life. They have their packed lunch, they sit in the park or they sit on a bench in some beautiful place, and they switch off for a couple of hours and focus on eating and connecting and focus on restoring and focusing on happiness and get away from the busy. It's a big deal. It's a big focus of the day. That's amazing. That works for Paris. It may not work for you, but you got to find something like that. They've made it a whole cultural shift. And also, like after work, you see them all hanging out when you walk around. You see them all hanging out in restaurants and pubs and chatting. And it's such a big thing to meet after work, to just have a bit of the soft life. Work on your happiness. Work on not just working, but just chilling and having fun. So the hustle culture is failing us because it's actually it's giving us false promises of wealth and happiness. And it's led to skyrocketing. The focus, if it was a success, we wouldn't have skyrocketing burnout, stress, increased people battling with increased levels of the depression signal. There's something going on. If you've got balance and peace, you're not going to be constantly crying from your heart, I'm so stressed. The days that I find myself saying, it's too much, it's so much stress, it's too much, I can't do it anymore. I know that I have not taken enough time to focus on the soft life, and I have got sucked into all the busyness. And it doesn't mean I don't love what I do. It just means that I lost my balance for a while. But some of us haven't even got balance in there. It took me a while to get the balance in, and every now and then it's out of balance, and then I pay the price, which I know you know what I'm talking about. Okay, there's a productivity addiction. There's a lot on this that's worth talking about. Addiction means that you are consumed with doing something, and if you consume with that, you've got to have that list done. You've got to, if you don't do it, you feel weird. If you do something, you've got a little gap of time, you think, I should be doing something, I should be filling it up with something productive. Or you get to the end of the day, and this was productive, and you list off, I did this, and I did this, and if you didn't do it, you feel weird. That's an addiction. You need it to make you feel fulfilled. Can you feel as fulfilled If part of your list at the end of the day was, I sat for 2 hours and enjoyed my lunch and just stared at the sea and played with my dogs and chatted about nonsense to my husband, or texted a friend and we were chatting about some movie, or read my book for 2 hours, and added that to my list of achievements. So are you seeing the soft life, these examples, as something that's not something you want to do? Or something that you kind of feel bad about. You want to do, but you feel bad about it. I said that incorrectly. Or you're seeing this as something that is actually part of your daily life. So we got to check. Do you have a productivity addiction? I know I used to have it. Because when you're addicted to something and you do it over and over again, you create a habit. And a habit takes 63 days to form, not 21. And that's a 9-week cycle. And if you've been doing this for multiple 9-week cycles, you've got a very established habit. Whatever you think about the most grows. I did a whole podcast on this. And so you're constantly thinking about being productive. I've got to get this done. This is what I've got to get done. I've got to get more for the start of every moment. I can't take time to do those things. Those are for the weak-minded or whatever. That's not. And you've bought into that. That's a habit that you've created. So you may need to do a full 63-day cycle where you work every day on helping yourself to rethink this mindset of this hustle culture and find ways of rebuilding in the importance of a soft life, because you may not really believe that a soft life is important for your well-being, but it is. The science is out on it and has been for years. We know that excessive stress has unmanaged excessive toxic stress, wrecks your psychoneurobiology, and that's very established in the research, and I've done a lot of research on that as well. Okay. So we need to live beyond this. We need to live beyond the grind, okay? We need to work out ways in our life that we can live beyond the grind. What you find is that when you make a decision that you're going to adopt the soft life as part of your necessary life and live beyond the grind, you've basically got to rewire your mind, brain, and body. Your mind is 99% of who you are, as I keep saying, and what your brain and body are 1%, but your brain and body simply do what your mind tells her to do, and then the 3 together are how you show up. So essentially, you have to rewire that mindset. It took me really not 1, but 2 9-week cycles, 2 63-day cycles, to really convince myself that the soft life is worth building into my life. That it's okay to have days where you do nothing. I don't have to work 7 days a week. It's okay if I've got to get something done, take a day off, take a few hours off, go out for dinner, whatever it is. So it's taken me 18 weeks to really convince myself of the importance of a soft life. Even though I know from the science, quote the science and all that stuff, which helps us. We've got to, the science, and I'm going to give you a bit of the science now, but you're going to have to make that decision as to, first of all, believe that the soft life is essential to have as part of how you run your day, and not just to do it now and then, but to be convinced and understand that this is part of important for your ability to even move forward. And so it requires a bit of planning. It requires you getting that mindset shift so that you don't feel guilty when you are doing something nice, like hanging out in the park at lunchtime with your friends in between morning and afternoon work, and not feeling guilty, and not sitting on your phone and doing emails in that supposed lunch break, unless there's an emergency. I'm talking about in general. Emergencies happen and you have to work through weekends and whatever. Like I had to work through this weekend, although I did take Sunday off. And I have for the last I've done an 8-day stretch in a row, and I don't normally do that, but we're busy moving a house, so I have to take a few days off to be able to pick up and move and all that kind of thing. So I sort of swapped things around, and instead of spreading it over 5 days, I had to squish some stuff into 8-day run so I can take a 3-4 day break kind of thing. So that's what I'm talking, balance. But I plan it like that because I know I need those breaks. I know that when 5 o'clock hits, preferably that's when I stop and have dinner with my husband, make dinner, go for a walk with the dogs, watch some TV, whatever. Okay, do those nice things. Go and have a sauna, do a bit of a workout, whatever. Okay, so when we do this, we've got to rewire. So that's what I'm saying. It takes us 63 days to rewire. Position rest as an intentional act of reclaiming control over your time, energy, and well-being. So when you decide to rewire this the soft life as a habit, you want to be intentional about reclaiming control over your time, your energy, and your well-being. Now that's a big statement. So I sat down and And in the 63 days, I worked over, this didn't happen in one day. And my intention was, okay, I need to reclaim my energy. What are the things, what situations are the things that tend to throw me off and get me into that frazzled state? And when is it happening? How is it happening? And work out like where, and then ask myself the question, where have I actually intentionally built in what I just said over here? Intentionally built in time for not working, time for doing things that aren't driving me in a productive direction, that are driving me into a restful direction. So you need to literally, I can't stress this enough, you need to literally make the decision to be intentional about reclaiming your time and your energy and your well-being. Ask yourself, is my energy being drained by me getting worked up because I can't handle all the things that I'm doing, because I'm being driven by this measurable thing that I've got to go and evaluate it? Where is it worth being measured against that? What do I want to be measured against that? You might take a whole week to just work that out. Then you may take another whole week to think that, what are the things that are draining my energy? What do I need for my well-being? You may need to spend a bit of time, and that's what I did on these 263-day cycles, is working out very intentionally what was draining my energy. How did I want to reclaim my energy? How did I want my well-being to improve? We need to talk about more as a community and amongst each other about shifting of value into the workplace, into conversations. We need to be talking more, instead of always saying, I'm so busy, I'm so busy, I'm so busy, and then proudly saying, I did all these things, and listing them off. And I've been guilty of this. We need to rather be talking more about, hey, how can we build, okay, let me say it like this. Less of our time in conversations with others needs to be about all the things that we've done. And even with ourselves, conversations with ourselves and our immediate family and team. And more time needs to be spent on how can I plan more holidays this year, more time into my daily schedule for the soft life, more time to connect with other people. We need to spend more time on that, because more time is spent on us complaining about how busy we are. And that in itself is so draining, because if you ruminate on something negative, you'll make it worse. Whatever you think about the most grows. So if you're ruminating on, I'm so busy, I'm so busy, I'm so busy, I'm so busy, that's what you're growing. So rather focus on, okay, I'm busy, but I'm going to focus on how I can not be so busy, or I can be busy, but I can be busy in a balanced way and build in a soft life. I've got to do, and you've got to spend time on that. How do I do this? So if you're spending 3 sentences on how stressed and busy you are, then you need to have 3 times that on how you can counter that with the soft life. So it's kind of like a 3-to-1 ratio. So for every one, I'm busy, 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 you're going to find, okay, what 3 soft life things can I do? There's this tipping point of a 3-to-1 ratio in helping to make shifts and changes and helping to move you over into a habit that happens. Okay? When we intentionally and deliberately. So, for example, like when I was doing and I use my neurocycle, which is my system that I've developed for how you manage your mind, 5-step system. You can see the link on the neurocycle in the notes below. But essentially, I use the neurocycle daily to work through this. And the neurocycle runs 5 steps daily over 63 days. And I did 2 cycles specifically to really learn how to give myself permission to build the soft life into my life, and to really emphasize to myself the importance of doing this, so that I can easily now catch myself when I find that I've got a little gap and I think, oh, okay, let me fill this with work. I think, don't fill this with work. Go do something fun. Go do something soft life-ish. And it's taken me time to do that, because my natural instinct was to fill it with another thing that makes me more productive. Okay, so we need to be really talking about, there's a strong concept creep for busyness. Concept creep means a concept's taken and it's grown because people are talking about it. Let's shift the concept creep and talk more about the soft life, because the more we talk about the soft life, the more that concept creep will grow, and that's good. And then we'll help us collectively find ways of helping each other to build that into our lives. So when you do, just on a science level, when you are taking that time to rest, you change your neurophysiology. You help to calm down your brain waves. There's so many amazing things that will happen. You'll reduce, let's start with the brain waves. I'll give you just 2 really great scientific reasons why it's essential to do the soft life, okay? when you make these decisions to, okay, I've got this little gap, I'm going to read a book, or I'm going to just call my friend, or text my mom, or whatever, or just do nothing, stare at the view, or watch a movie, or read a book, or just chat, or just meditate. As you do that, as you make that decision and you make it a practice, you actually reboot your entire neurophysiology. Your brain and body physically have limited energy. And that limited energy, when it's used up, it will feed back and increase the messiness of your mind. And you won't access the wisdom of your unconscious mind. In other words, you'll get stuck in messy thinking, ruminating, lots of thoughts, chaotic mind. And then that then feeds into your body, and your body back into your mind, and then you set up this negative feedback loop, and then that causes an increase in the wrong it causes the wrong amount of good chemicals to flow, which then becomes disruptive instead of constructive. And that means that you'll have all the energy that's happening in your brain and body, it is coming from your mind, from this chaotic thinking, and not trying to hustle. That energy can be measured in the brain with brain waves, and we talk about delta, theta, alpha, beta, and gamma, and we've got to have a balance of all of those. And so, for example, beta is when we focus, but if you have too much beta, which happens if we constantly hustle, then we're going to lose concentration. Our brain will not be able to be as efficient as what it could be. When your brain's not as efficient, nor is your body, and then that feeds back into your mind. Over time, if your brain and body aren't as efficient and there's too much beta energy flowing, you affect your hormone system, and you affect your immune system, and so on and so on. So we see this coming out in changes in things like prolactin, which is a hormone that male and females have, and it's very important for it's very linked to a lot of obviously hormonal functions, but also to how we are managing our emotional life and how we're dealing with toxic stress. So the hustle culture tends to activate too much prolactin and throws you out of balance. And that's just one sign. If that's happening, I can guarantee it's never just one thing. It means cortisol, DHEA, immune system, from the chemicals to the systems are being impacted. And over time, if you don't stop and regenerate, those don't restore, and then that weakens your body, and that's why we get lifestyle diseases. So therefore, when you deliberately and intentionally get a mindset, you get a network built that I'm going to build a soft life in, you're much more quickly able to recover from if you've had a very stressful day and you have freaked out and you have felt under pressure, and that has created all those reactions. If you've made the decision and you started working on that, I am going to build a soft life into my lifestyle, you can restore the prolactin levels and the DHEA levels and the biochemistry and the neurophysiology and the systems like the hormone system and the immune system, the cardiovascular system. You can restore them back to a healthy state quicker. So the soft life will help you restore your body back to a healthier state quicker. So just some things that you could do, some little daily practices like mindful coffee breaks. I just was busy, really, really busy today. And just before I recorded this, I'd been doing a lot of other things, recordings, meetings, and so on. And I was starting to get into this hustle culture. So it was actually so appropriate that I did this podcast now, because I thought, geez, I'm just about to do a podcast on productivity. And here I'm busy, trying to squash so much in my day and getting kind of worked up. And so I thought, I'm going to stop. I haven't eaten since early this morning. I probably got a bit of hangriness going on over there, and I'm getting kind of ratty. My poor husband was getting a little bit snapped at, and not bad, but enough that I could see it was starting to mount, and he was just being nice and kind. So I thought, okay, stop. I apologized, said, let's take a coffee break, and we just made some coffee, chatted a bit about some fun stuff, and talked about where should we go for dinner and that kind of thing. It was 10 minutes. I rebooted, I recharged, and as I was mentioning, the brain and the body have limited energy, and our mind has unlimited energy, our unconscious mind. And so unconscious mind controls the conscious mind. And if the conscious mind is allowed to go wild, it's going to then make the brain and body go wild, and it's going to drain your brain and body. And when you feel that, when your mind, brain, body, messy mind, brain, and body get in that draining cycle, that's when all that neurophysiology and biochemistry stuff happens. And that's when we're going to react by getting irritable, worked up, feeling under pressure, saying the wrong thing, reactive, upset, tears, whatever. Whatever it looks like, angry, whatever. And so it's just, it's a lifestyle. It's not just, okay, well, when I feel like that, I'll go for a run. Sure, go for a run, but you shouldn't wait to get to that point to go for a run. It's building, and you shouldn't only be relying on going for a run to get all that pent up anger or frustration out of you, because you're already low on energy. So the run will reboot a certain type of energy, but you need to get your mind work sorted out as well. So we make this mistake in developing a soft life, in just thinking, okay, I'm going to do physical stuff. What's really important is to do mental stuff. So what I was doing with the coffee example for you was saying that instead of, maybe dropping on the ground and doing 10 press-ups, which would have generated a feeling of a little bit of a high in my body and given me energy to move on, I actually decided to do a soft life thing, which was it wasn't just a physical exercise, it was a mind relaxation thing. Have a cup of coffee with my husband, chat about nonsensical things, apologize, be kind. All of those are soft life things that are mind things that are so good for you. Then if I felt like doing 10 press-ups, which I didn't, but I have done that often. I just didn't feel like it at that moment, but I've done it. I then would do that. What I often do is, when I'm feeling, another example of soft life for me is, I'll just think, okay, I'm feeling this overwhelmed. I'll get up, go get my dog's favorite toys and just throw them around and play with them a bit. And honestly, 5 minutes of seeing that makes me laugh, and it's a bit of soft life thing. I've got my mind back under control. Then I might, just run around with a bit of exercise, and then it takes me 5 or 6 or 7 minutes, and my dogs are happy and I'm happy. Okay, so those are some examples. Another thing I love to do is love chatting with my granddaughter on FaceTime, and we do that every day. And just to see her, I could be so worked up and busy, but if we chat on FaceTime and I just see her little face pop up, and then she points at the phone and says, Chi, it's just like it just fizzles all that whatever. So find your little triggers, good triggers, that will help activate you to just chill and rebalance. Okay. So, by addressing, the other thing is social media. Oh my gosh, we all know about social media. We all know too much about social media. We also know what it does to us. So just be aware of your feelings. When you look at social media and you see X person's doing X and you're starting to feel that, you're not going to make a good decision. You need to stop. Take a deep breath. Breathe in. Breathe another sip. And breathe out. So it's deep breath in, another sip. Breathe out, do it a few times and say, okay, why am I feeling like this? Why am I feeling triggered? Why do I feel I have to do this? I make a lousy someone else, I make a great me. Is this good for them? Great, be kind. If kindness is going to help you. Kindness is part of the soft life. Okay? And then say, okay, well, what is this telling me about me? What do I need to do? Maybe there's something, let's get beyond all the worry that I should be doing more and think, well, is there some information here that's important for me that's going to help me? If not, move on. And it takes practice to do that. As I said, it took me 2 63-day cycles, 18 weeks to really build this into my lifestyle. And I can honestly say, because I did it in a dedicated way, I didn't just listen to podcasts, read articles, do it now and then. I did a concentrated effort. I did the neurocycle daily for 63 days times 2, and I worked this in. It took me, honestly, 10 minutes a day, 5 to 10 minutes a day, and it really changed my life. Okay, so we've got to redefine success. We've got to reject the hustle culture. And we've got to embrace the soft life, to embrace healthy mental health as a priority. Why don't you commit to one soft life change this week? Just find one. And if you can do it every day, fabulous. Even if it's for 5 minutes, just commit to one. Send me in the comment section, send me a DM, go on my social media page, tell me what you did and how it impacted you. I'd love to hear that. So it might be taking a proper lunch break. It might be saying no to an obligation. I did that today. I had already had this list, and I got asked to do 2 extra things, and I actually would normally have fitted them in, and I could fit them in, but I said no. I said no, I can't do them. In order of priority, I'll fit them in at another time. And so, because I like when I get stuff done, like given to me, I just want to, things that need to be done that only I can do, I like to get them done efficiently and quickly. But it was too much for me today. It was something that I just said no, and I'll do it another day. And I felt immediately it was hard, because I wanted to people please. I wanted to get it done. I wanted to jump into the hustle culture and productivity, and what was buzzing most in my head was my productivity. Okay, I can check that off on my checklist. But that's not important. What's more important was me to have a bit of say no, have bit of soft life time so that I'm much better mentally, physically, and emotionally. My psychoneurobiology is healthier. So when I do get to doing it, I'll do it better. And no one will be worse, we'll all be better off. Okay, so I'm going to challenge you, commit to one soft life change this week, whether it's taking a proper lunch break, saying no to an obligation, or planning a day to simply rest. And that's what I did last week when I took Sunday off. I had worked 8 days in a row, and I was going to work on Sunday, and there was stuff that needed to be done, and my productivity button went off, and thank goodness my work that I'd been doing for the last 18 weeks kicked in, and I said, no, I'm taking the day off. I can fit that into what I did. I've spread it across the week, and it's all getting done. So what I would have done on the Sunday, I needed that day off. I really did. I needed to put that soft culture into my life at that moment. So emphasize this for yourself. Emphasize to yourself that adopting a soft life is not something that's selfish. It's something that's absolutely necessary for you to function in a healthy way, mentally and physically. Your psychoneurobiology cannot function properly without a soft life. See you next time.